Hey, Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over the pullback on the crypto charts. As you can see, the bubbles are having pretty heavy profit taking today. We can see a few altcoins popping off, but it does seem to be pretty random. Guys, let's just jump straight over to the chart to see what's going on. Of course, I was mentioning that in the previous episode that we had this channel that I could see forming, and that of course we had explored the mid channel over here, retested the bottom, came up, tried to break through the top, tried to break through the top again, had a pullback to the mid channel, failed to hold it, came back to test the bottom of the channel. Succeeding in holding that, we just skyrocketed back to the top of the channel. Bulls went back into control. Bulls held control for about a week, where they've been trying to break this kind of glass ceiling that we have over here. And I did mention on the last episode that we would have to break that $25,300 area. Otherwise, we're likely to be sent down at least to the mid channel here. And of course, while the Bulls did maintain control, they just were not able to break through that ceiling. And if you do look at it just closely, you can see that we did make one of the highest, if not the highest, price that we've had here. Yeah, I mean, somewhere around 25,300, beating this wick over here. So Bulls did a great job. It's just that they were not able to get into the next area that they needed to. And so this thing may need to have a second pass, sort of like what we did over here, right? We came all the way up here, tried to fight it multiple times, got rejected down to the midsection, and then maybe come back again. Something like that could happen. You could say that it already did happen, because we did have this test back right here. And maybe this is going to be just an accelerated drop, and we're going to retest the bottom of this channel. But either way, as you can see, that bulls are struggling to break through this limit here, even though overall they're doing a good job by putting in a higher high, guys. So we have a higher low and a higher high, and so none of this is bearish yet. None of this is bearish whatsoever. However, just for the day, just for the time being, we can say that we are a little bit more on neutral territory. As you can see, we are above the midline of this channel, and so overall I still give an edge to the bulls on the daily here. Guys, we can see that bears don't come back into control on these current daily metrics until 20,557. We are quite a ways away from there, so I am not terrified of this chart just breaking down anytime soon. I do think that we do have a bullish structure, and of course, pullbacks are a natural part of that. That's how you get good entries. You see this red across the board, and that just, those are your kind of entry prices, assuming you're doing proper risk management. I can move this circle over here. We are here now. And you can see that if we just to zoom in a bit, that our levels have tightened considerably compared to just the broad swaths of bullish territory that we had a few days ago. Now our momentum pool is really quite skinny in the grand scheme of things, and you can see that we did start the day. I am recording this as of around 6 a.m. So we did start the day quite bearishly last night, broke down from the alpha momentum pool over the evening, over midnight on West Coast over here, and then we've just continued to push down as we violated the volatility pivot. Now, guys, you understand that I don't like when the volatility pivot is over our head. However, we can often have a check back to that pivot, and so hopefully, if we don't just catastrophically dump here, we have a check back to this 24,250-ish area. But really we want to be above that, and we're not going to get that added momentum back until we're above 24,400. We're not going to be able to hold that uptrend unless we're above 24,454, approximately where the same location that our MACD will turn bullish again on the daily. So we did lose it under that level when we did lose the bullish control zone this morning. And that bullish control zone, re-entering that would be 24,480. So you can see 24,000, let's just call it 450, 24,500 is really important. If you just want to take some type of a long position, you could wait till we get back up there, assuming that you don't care about your entry efficiency and you just want to get in on the bullish momentum. However, for the day, we are just in this kind of neutral, kind of turnaround, kind of check back from this bullish action that we've been going on here. Again, it's quite normal. We continued to push up from here, even though we had this major pullback. We continued to push up here, even though we had this major pullback. And so these things do happen. I don't know why the charts just freak out. They go absolutely crazy. Just everyone starts taking their profit, which is fine. You should take your profit. But again, I don't see anything wrong per se. We are even getting a little bit of a bounce higher than this wick. So again, like these drops, they are being bought up. We do have more of a threshold over here around 22,000 that will be interesting to watch. Should we get below 22,500, should we get below 22,000, then that's where I'm going to be concerned that this diagonal channel will be breaking down and that maybe bears are going to have their strongest chance to get into control under 20,500. But we're not even close to there. We are just sort of exploring the mid channel on this trend, and that's totally okay. Guys, I did say that there was likely to be a limit on that move to the upside, and if we look at the jewel, again, it was because of this kind of God signal that we got to the downside, right? And I mentioned whenever we have one of these God signals to the downside, we enter the bearish control zone. Then whenever we have like a tick back up, there's usually a limit on the move. And you can check back a couple episodes ago. And what did I say? I said, even when we were down here on this indicator, I said, most likely we're going to come up to 60 to 70, and then we're probably going to have a hard limit on that move. Well, we approached 60 to 70, and look what's happening. We're rounding again. We're getting a little indication that we might have another pullback, and that doesn't mean that the bullish trend is over. It just means that, again, for whatever reason, charts just have a tendency to have a little bit of a limit on their move after getting one of these type of signals, and so I'm just going to leave that there. That's just a statistical thing. It doesn't really mean anything to me in the long run. Okay, so the big picture is still bullish for me, even though temporarily we could have pullbacks. Of course, I was liking the look of this RSI a couple days ago, but in the last episode I did mention that holy moly, a lot of bearish divergence was starting to build up on it. We got this line over here, and of course I said in the last episode, watch out for the buildup of divergences because that could knock us out of this bullish control zone. And sure enough, that's what happened. We had held it here with a higher low, but then we started to put in lower highs, so this was a little bit of an indecision. There could have been a little bit of a bullish flag here, could have been a little bit of a head and shoulders on this RSI, but of course technical analysis on the RSI isn't always perfect, and so what we did see is just these many drives of bearish divergences just kind of pushed us down back into neutral territory. You can see the midline is over here, so we're not even towards the midline. Again, we just slipped out of the bullish control zone. It's not like we're plummeting to hell or anything. Obviously, this is a lower high area compared to this one, so we do have to watch that. But overall, we do have this double bottom here and a higher low on this end. So again, a little bit of indecision just suggests that, we could have pullbacks or sideways action. And to be honest, that's perfectly normal. Guys, as we can see on our volatility, we did continue to have that volatility push to the upside, where again, a volatility is direction neutral, but in this case, it was pushing us to the upside, and I did suggest that we would probably just want to ride that out until the volatility started to pinch off. It does look like it might be getting ready to pinch off. However, we do have to consider that it hasn't even reached the 90% level yet, where it traditionally has much more, kind of like a confirmation of pinches. You can kind of front run it above that 90% area, but being around 80, I'm not 100% convinced this thing is over yet. We could have another push, even all the way up to 100. And so fake outs do happen. You can continue to drive up. And I'm not ready to call this as a volatility flip yet. When we cross this EMA, and then even when we cross these stars, if you can see these little white dots, then I'll consider that maybe we're going to have a significant change in our volatility. But until then, just, we did this sort of thing before, and then we kept pumping up. So let's just keep an eye out for this one. Guys, I think that, we can also see on the ADX that the strength of the move is starting to weaken. This is a little bit more of a significant weakening than we had earlier. You can see that the DI positive is coming down significantly into kind of just trending, just sort of sideways kind of perspective here. It's no longer pumping up. It's no longer in this kind of energetic zone. It's below this white dashed line that I put on this chart here. And you can see that the DI negative is pumping up. And so when these cross, usually we do have some type of bearish action. So we are going to want to watch out to see if the DIs cross, and then how the ADX responds to that. So of course we have been pushing up on the chart for a considerable amount of time, and if we do have a more significant pullback, again guys, I'm not bearish unless we get to around 20,500-ish, at which point I will concede that maybe this move may want to recheck some lows to 18,000 or even lower. But as long as we're just in this channel that I marked out for you, again, I just have difficulty being anything but bullish. Guys, let's go ahead and throw some EMAs on the day. You can see that simply we checked back to the 9, and again, if you guys follow this channel, you'll understand that I do believe that that's just a bullish move. I can't really knock it unless we get into a hard squeeze where we break the 9 and then we close the day underneath the 9, potentially squeezing between the 9 and the 21 to the downside, violate that 21. Okay, I'm going to be in a little bit more of a bearish mode, and closing under the 9, same thing. But here we're just holding this level. I can't really see anything too bearish yet. We just have to be aware that we do have the possibility for that 9-4 squeeze to the downside, and that could bring us all the way down to this mid channel where you do see the 21 EMA at approximately 23,400-ish. And so again, guys, you don't need all these fancy tools. You can just use your EMAs. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the weekly for perspective, and on the weekly you can see that we are just continuing to squeeze between the 4 and the 200. That 200 on the weekly is going to be a tough nut to crack. And so if we do have to take a couple swings at it, that's no skin off our back, to be honest. Again, we're above the 21, we're above the 9, we're above the 4. Bullish, 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 we even have this 35 underneath us to support us. You can see we did get support off of it right there, so I don't feel like we're in any danger of just plummeting to hell. And in fact, we are having a little bit more of a kind of a squeeze to the upside look on this chart. And so pullbacks under this construction on this weekly time frame should be considered a blessing if you weren't able to get into some of these positions, and now you see your favorite altcoins pulling back. Of course, you also see some weirdos like Floki pumping 32%. Okay, Floki, not sure what that's about, but guys, again, like some of these coins will be going off. Some of these coins will be having kind of draconian, serious pullbacks, and you can play them off of each other. You don't have to be loyal to any one coin. These coins will definitely not be loyal to you. So if you do see one pumping off that you do have, then please take some profit. Buy back in on a retracement. Just make sure to pay yourself first. Put food on your table. And guys, there will be other coins with pullbacks that still have an overall bullish structure, and then randomly go like 30%, like a good old Floki here. Okay, so look, Hex is up, but then these other ones are significantly down. Let's just go by change percentage here, and we can see. Let's see what's significantly down here. Bone is down. VXV. Okay, so just I'm not seeing too much below. Okay, Labs is down 18%. Cpool, I do have a position in that. It's 10% down. Should have taken more profit. Taken my own advice there. But of course, guys, we can't always bat 100, so we can just do our best, and as long as we're trading well more than 60% of the time, then we're doing our job as traders. Just make sure that you are paying yourself something for your efforts in case this stuff comes crashing down. Okay, you're gonna want to have taken some profit at some point. Otherwise, all of this was just a complete waste of time. Of course, this isn't financial advice, just trying to give friendly advice to my friends and family who may be watching, and of course, remind myself, as sometimes I do violate my own rules. I'm only human. And TA is one thing, but trading is another thing. And so a lot of the times there are people who are better at TA than they are at trading. Other times there are people who are better at trading than they are at TA. And of course, we want to be well rounded in both of those things. Guys, I am going to wrap it up there. I guess we can take a look at the 4 hour just to see what's going on. And you can see that we are getting a little bit of a rounding here, but we haven't captured the 4 yet. So is this move over yet? Not sure. It could push down a little bit more. This thing could still be in danger of falling on the 4 hour. So let's just keep our eye out for that, and then also manage our stop losses carefully today. Guys, that's your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.